Well, hello, everyone. While you're all coming in the room, I just want to say I'm glad you're here. Happy afternoon. It is afternoon for most of us, I think. Let me let a few more people in. Real quick introductions, if you don't already know who we are. I'm glad you're joining us. My name's Devin Stone. I am the owner and partner in construction programs and results, Markup and Profit. Michael, Michael, look up, say hi. Michael is my partner in business. He's my partner in life. Um, and the author of the books Markup and Profit, A Contractor's Guide, and Profitable Sales, A Contractor's Guide, and Estimating Construction Profitably. I remembered, I did. Anyway, I'm glad you're all here. We're just going to go ahead and get started, but I want to say if you have any questions, please use the chat, and we'll be taking any questions at the end. And I would like to introduce Brian Javeline. Brian is going to be our presenter today. Brian, take it away.
Hello, everybody. And I see a bunch of names here, so I want to thank you all for checking in on me down here in South Florida. It was a rough ride last night, but we're all dry and we're doing well. So thank you again for those well wishes that came my way. What I want to do, Devin, is if you could just let me know when the PowerPoint is appearing so I'm able to do my thing.
Yep, it's there. You're good.
Okay, everybody. As you know, or anyone who doesn't know me, I tend to go very fast and I like to have as many action items learned by as many diverse people as possible. So forgive me, I'm going to go very fast. I'm going to summarize, and at the end, feel free to ask any questions on any of these topics. But the ultimate goal is for us to begin doing something so we're able to get more quality leads in 2025 and years beyond. So when people know me, I always want you to remember that I'm not focusing in on just a technical topic. The goal is simple with your marketing efforts, and that is to target more quality on a continuous basis. And I want to begin. This is all live, by the way. I don't like to just take theory. I like to show real stuff. So also for Milton's here at the moment, I'm using them as the most recent topic to talk about, which is, and let me just move something out of the way here that is bothering me. So forgive me. The Zoom topic is in front of me. Now it's gone. Okay. To begin with, we all want you to get a Google review, just a minimum of one additional Google review in Q4, as well as respond to that review. The reason is, as soon as the meter or the clock ticks past January 1st, there's no way to fill that bucket anymore of getting reviews in 2024. So as a starting point, just get a Google review, do what you need to do to get that in Q4, and remember to respond to that review. Secondly, we want to remember that when possible, ask your clients to provide images. If you look at reviews, Google reviews changed. It used to be newest, oldest, highest, lowest, but oldest has now been replaced by most relevant. Most relevant is created by Google algorithms to try to figure out what's within the review. Meaning, if somebody says, hey, you did a good job, that's totally different than somebody saying you did a good remodeling job. And when there's images associated with the review itself, the search engines are able to see more data behind what the words are. So when possible, even using Milton here, even though he has upwards of 25 reviews as of yesterday, at least, his most relevant is from 4 years ago because that particular review was extremely well thought out and it did have a handful of images. So use that as a way to, I don't want to call it gaming the system, but when you have a job that really represents the best of what you do, ask your clients to give as much detail in their review as humanly possible, as well as provide whatever images they could provide, knowing that it's going to help you impact the most relevant section of the Google reviews feature. Ensure that you respond to all of your Google reviews. And this one, I get to use Milton because recently he had two unfavorable reviews that he was able to have changed by simply picking up the phone and calling people. This is becoming more and more important as people's expectations seem to have been getting a little bit psychotic lately, where there's a perception of what they want from you before they even make a phone call. And then if they don't get what they want, they seem to go rampant on the reviews to get back at you. So before you get emotional and start responding in a written manner, pick up the phone, talk to people. And what my point is, that he had a 1-star review, which wasn't from a customer. By the way, it was from a prospect. And that prospect changed their 1-star review to a 5-star review and now is comparing him to J.C. Penney's, which was wonderful. And separately, he did have a 4-star review from a client. And the 4-star was only given based on the perception of the customer at the proposal level. And he never told Todd Milton what that perception was till after they finished a great job. So all he did was make a request to the customer to reconsider by talking. And the customer did go back and changed it from a 4 to a 5 and even changed the terminology they used in the reviews. So like I like to keep reminding people, with all this technology out there, before you jump the gun and respond emotionally, remember, picking up a phone and having a verbal communication with somebody could alter the results much more than paying me by the hour to try to figure out a technical way to alter the results, where a simple phone call could do that. While you're thinking of images, you only have until the end of the year, excuse me, to update your Google profile, where you take the best of your projects that you've done over a period of time that have not been submitted by a client in Google reviews, and go ahead to your Google profile and add 1 or more photos only showing the best of what you do. Don't use your Google profile as a way to emulate Instagram, where you start dumping all of these in progress photos or before photos. Only treat your Google profile similar to your homepage. Show the best of what you've done over a period of time and try to update your profile before the clock ticks to a new year in 2025. While you're in your Google profile, double check your service territories. You're allowed to place up to 15 service areas in the profiles. And every once in a while, those profiles, we don't know why, but they get reset and they seem to go blank. So just take a moment to log into your profile and to make sure that your service area is complete. And if it's not there, go ahead and attempt to emulate the service areas that are presented on your website. Once we leave Google, there's a lot of different ways to use social media. One of them is to begin to remind people, what would you like to consider with your services in the upcoming season? In this case, Crossbeam just posted recently, happened to know someone planning a home renovation in Salt Lake. Here's the 4 towns that they focus in on. Go ahead and make a very specific post asking people point blank, do they or their neighbors need a particular service in the upcoming season? It's a good way to, don't assume people are going to come to you. It's okay to point blank ask somebody if they happen to know somebody looking for a service that you provide. Another one, taken from Milton, they did a unique post where they were providing their crew on a daily basis to, in this case, specifically to their existing customer base. People that are looking to redo their yard before the holiday season and so forth, and they need a crew for like 1 or 2 or 3 days type of thing. They did a very smart way of reaching out to their customers for nothing specific other than providing generic handyman services for a very short period of time. Even though they're looking for larger scale remodeling projects, it was a great way to connect to existing customers. Make a social post if you're looking to expand your team. There's a lot of people who are thinking about what they may do in the upcoming year, and there's a lot of tradesmen who may not be happy, or tradespeople, should I say, to be politically correct, tradespeople that are not happy in their current jobs, and they're thinking about change. So go ahead and place posts on the types of people that you're looking for to join your company. Make a social post to share what you're in the middle of doing. A lot of times people miss this where they kind of use social media to only show exactly what they've done, but they go dormant for 1, 2, or 3 months, and they're in the middle of doing a lot of different things. It's okay to make a simple post to kind of like a movie trailer where you're going to eventually come back and brag about what you finished doing. But in order to show you're still alive, take the cool things of what you're in the process of doing and give people an update of what you're in the middle of doing. In this particular case, this gentleman here is in the middle of doing a 3-car garage addition, and he was just sharing the demolition of the old 1-car garage and the foundation that was there in place. Also, with social media, it's okay to share what you plan to do. So whenever you're coming up with any type of design work, schematics, 3D renderings, excuse me, or anything that is showing the way of what you will soon be doing, which will then be followed with what was actually done, use social media to share what you're in the middle of planning to do. When you're updating social media, I was using Facebook as an initial starting point, but don't forget Instagram. Instagram is the same way of connecting, but focus more on not the story, but the images behind the story. And when you're placing images on Instagram, excuse me, please be very limited, or don't even bother with the hashtags when you're trying to tell your story. I see that a lot of times people will post a picture and then they'll have a 1 sentence description of what the picture is. And then they'll have 10, 20, 30. I've even seen more, which is sad, but they do so many hashtags within the hopes of taking a singular image, and by trying to come up with an endless supply of ways that people may associate themselves to that image. And that just makes the post itself become very ugly. So if you're going to use hashtags and you understand hashtags, keep them very limited or exclude them altogether. Beyond social media, we want to start preparing for the holidays. And we're in the middle of October, and in the blink of an eye, we'll be saying Happy Thanksgiving, and then Happy a Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. But it's right around the corner. The thing that I've always despised of, and will continue to, is making superficial social posts when it takes you 30 seconds to a minute to wish everybody these good wishes, and then you hit the enter key and kind of move on. We'd like you to remember that there's 3 different ways that you should seriously think about how to turn it up a notch and really show your appreciation through cards, telephone, as well as a handshake. But I want to go into first the cards, because you could order them right now in October and have them come in a few weeks, and take the moment to start writing out whatever that thank you note may be. Most of you contractors, unlike Markup and Profit and myself over here at My Online Toolbox, we're dealing with hundreds to even possibly thousands of different people in a year. The average contractor is dealing with so less people and businesses they're working with. Take a moment to show that sincerity. If we could do it in volume, you could do it better with a less volume than we need to deal with. So go ahead and order your cards and take a moment. It's so inexpensive to do, to offer us a real personalized note and what you would say. And you would not believe how people appreciate a handwritten card that's gone away, that even people have gotten so lazy that they're mostly printing them through machines with a label and not even signing them anymore. So go ahead to just give that consideration, because it's a very inexpensive way to showing sincere appreciation. But this little thing here called a phone, that's even worse than the cards. It seems that with social media and websites and email and texting, that we're losing the ability to simply make a phone call and talk to people. And so I'd like to remind people, especially if any of you are here, are sensing any type of slowdown in your business, whether it's seasonal, whether you want to blame it on the presidential elections, whatever the reason is that you're sensing a slowdown, take a moment to print a list of your best customers, sort them by oldest to newest, most expensive to least expensive, whatever, and go down a list of simply picking up a phone, calling someone, and being prepared for a voice message, which we're going to get to in a moment. But by simply calling someone and saying, "Hi, this is John of ABC Remodeling. Wanted to first thank you for your business. And as I'm preparing for my next season, I want jobs and customers just like you. Would you happen to know a neighbor that you could refer me to?" You would be surprised about how many people know things about their neighbors that they may not be in a rush to share your name unless prompted, especially if a new neighbor moved into town or something like that. And time goes by. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago doesn't mean that every customer that you've worked with is going to be loyal to be pounding out your name every time somebody says the word remodel or roofing or painting or whatever the service may be. So pick up the phone and use it as a gentle way to say hello. Going back to the voice message, a lot of times people get nervous, they overthink it and say, "Oh my God, what happens if they're not home?" Do the same thing with an upbeat attitude. "Hi, this is John of ABC Remodeling. I'm sorry I missed you. I was calling first to just say thank you for the past business." And separately, make a request that if you happen to know any neighbors who would be thinking about whatever the services that you provide, it would be wonderful if you share their name with me. Feel free to give me a call back to give me the information or even let me know if there's another way I could help you out. This is John of ABC Remodeling, and thanks again for your past business. Click. In the beginning, of course, I'm saying it fast and I'm comfortable because I do that frequently, but it's a way to be prepared to use this device that has been it's a lost art of verbal communication. And remember, you're going up against many of your competitors who despise the phone, probably as equally as many of the people listening to this here. So use that to your advantage. And here, quite honestly, this is the one I'm the most jealous about because I grew up in New York and was so used to knocking on doors and being met aggressively with people telling me to politely go away. And they usually weren't polite and they had many words that began with F to just leave them alone. But I still leveraged it as a way to say hello. Remember, if you knock on the door of a past customer, you could just have your truck outside and just say, "Hi, I was in the area just passing by to say thanks and wanted to just see how you're doing and see if you happen to know anybody in the area who might need my services." They might say, "I don't know anyone," or they might say, "Go across the street and go talk to Mary Jane right over there." And even if they don't answer the door, just leave a quick note, put it in the door, slide it in, say, "This is John of ABC Remodeling, came by to say hi," and that's it. And while you're there, walk across the street to all the other neighbors and just knock on their door and say, "Hi, I was in the area saying hello to a past customer and just wanted to say hello to you." Again, this is not something you need to do if you're busy, even though I would if you're in the area of a past customer. But if you're not busy, you can't just sit around twiddling your fingers and hoping and praying that the phone is going to ring or an email is going to come in from your website. So the phone is obviously the least inexpensive method to reaching out to past customers, but knocking on doors is the next way. And you have to be an entrepreneur if there's a slowdown. So yes, I do agree. Check out your marketing, start looking at all the technical things on why there may be a slowdown. And we're going to get into another technical reason towards the end of this presentation, but it doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing. So please pick up the phone or pick up your butt and get into your car and go visit your customers, because those are the people that can help you the best, especially in a slowdown. I want to do a quick commercial very fast. I don't like anybody to build their marketing. And if you remember this picture from the end of the Field of Dreams where you build it and they will come, well, I do have people and I'm pushing them that they built it last year and then they kind of forget about it, or they were so busy that they're not paying attention. And then 3 months turns into 6 months, turns into 1 year. So I want to do is, especially if there's anybody here that's been invited through their general contractor, or perhaps they're a new employee of a company. I just want to show you the Field of Dreams is a quick offer. I'm going to go right back into the business in a moment, but there is an offer on the My Online Toolbox website for only live attendees. It will go away tomorrow. So if you go to the basic education class, you're going to get an offer. I'm not going to elaborate why, because this recording is going to be passed on to at a later time. So please, when we're done with this presentation, simply go to the basic class, look at the yellow section, and it's an offer that you can't refuse that will take your education into 2025 and 2026. Coming back to our regularly scheduled program is an example. just under 2 years ago, we met a gentleman, and his name is Joseph of Valley Woodworks. I don't know if Joseph is joining us today or not at the given moment, but this is live as just a day ago. 2 years ago, he had no marketing presence. He had for everything we talking about when it comes to the Google, the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube videos, and everything else I'm going to mention at a hyper speed here. He didn't have any of it just 2 years ago. And now, yesterday, we posted this on his website where he now won a very prestigious award. Here he is, pretty excited. And Joseph, if you hear this at a later time, congratulations. But this particular landing page with a real beautiful video showing the best of who he is in what he does. And just under 2 years ago, he never could have imagined being in this marketing strength. And when I say marketing strength, this website here, without getting detailed into the website, if you look at this on the far left-hand corner, he didn't exist just under 2 years ago. So when you Googled or Yahooed or Binged or whatever, trying to find his service in his service area at the end of 2022 or around 2022, he didn't exist. He then spent the time learning what to do. He then did it. And this has been a consistent growth of him being found in his service territory. So in under 2 years, he was able to change everything about how he attracts business, what type of business he gets, and now he's getting rewards for that business. And that type of change literally takes a moment of focus. And that's what was that little bit of the field of dreams that I wanted to show you. He was sitting in that mode, but he built it and they did come. And that's what we hope all of you could do here today. So, made a mistake there. Sorry about that. Moving forward is moving into Google Analytics. Google Analytics, we've talked about this before, but it seems that whenever we're talking about the end of year reviews, sometimes people have gone more than a year and have never looked at anything technically. They're doing well. They're kind of riding a wave, and they haven't taken a moment to see how their statistics are doing. There are numerous tools. One of them is Google Analytics 4. And if you've not logged in yourself to see that it's working, take a moment to log in. And if you're not sure, right there on the right-hand side, that if you go to the acquisition overview feature, there's a topic that says view in real time. So what you do is you open up another browser tab, you log into your website, and just go to the view real time. And within 30 minutes or less, the less active you are as a website, it takes longer and longer for it to show up. But if within 30 minutes you see nothing and there's no active users, there's no new users, there is a chance that Google Analytics was not properly connected to your website, and you should check in with whomever's in charge of your website, or if you're doing it yourself, make sure that that is running, because there's way too much valuable information to use as time transpires. For example, and this is all subjective, the reason why I'm saying these particular topics for my online toolbox is we focus in on quality over quantity. So if somebody else is in a business model where quantity is the sheer topic of conversation, don't listen to me. Go listen to somebody else. But because their methodology of analyzing is different than how we are when we're thinking about brand marketing and quality. So where we begin with is traffic acquisition, meaning how are people coming to your website? So in this particular case, the first topic is organic search, which means they had no idea that the person existed, and they typed in something in search and then landed on the client's website, or they didn't know the company name, so they typed it right in, or they clicked on a link on something they read and came directly to the site. And then comes organic search, social, and some other topics. But traffic acquisition of how people are finding you is the first thing to learn. Separately, make sure that you're aware of the time periods, because these time periods have gotten so flexible that when you go to change the time period, whatever that time period may be is, in order to ensure the accuracy of what you're looking at, and you're not misled on some superficial topic that might be distorting the information that you're looking at, go to the bottom of the time ranges and hit the compare button. So no matter what you choose, if you say 30 days, automatically it's going to come 30 to 60 days. If you choose the last 90 days, it's going to do a 90 to 180 day comparison. And when you choose that topic, I must warn you, there will be a little extra information appearing, but it allows you to see a better picture so you don't inadvertently get excited about some 7 day statistics. Like, here's a good one. When I go to a trade show, the information I see the week after is so high because so many people are visiting for the first time as a result of the trade show, but it's distorting the normal traffic that is existing when I'm not at a trade show, for example. After the date range comparisons, when you're looking at the topics, brand marketers such as myself care about engaged sessions. And when people say, what is an engaged session? Think about somebody finding something on a website, and within 1 to 2 seconds, you look at it and go, that's not for me, and you leave. You were not engaged. But if you stay for a moment and begin to think, there's a time, and it says here, I just brought it up, I just hit the enter key from Google, that an engaged session is somebody who has stayed on a website for at least 10 seconds or has scrolled up to when you're scrolling down, that you've scrolled twice or you've gone to a second page, or you've hit click on something like maybe like a download a PDF or whatever it may be that was triggered by the programmer. But we need to know not just how many people have shown up to the site and quickly ran away, but how many stayed to begin to learn more about your company. And that is transpired into what's called an engagement rate. And if you look here in this particular example on the first line where it says organic search, in the time period we showed, there were 104 people who showed up at the site, 73 decided to stay, meaning that 70% of the people who have no idea about this client, when they showed up, they thought there was enough there for them to continue their journey to learn more. For me, anything over 55 to 60% is good. Anything over 70 to 80% is what I like to call pathetically good. So that just happens to be a great example of it, but the numbers are still small. When we come here to average engagement time, that is a number that is difficult for anyone to manipulate as time goes by. I like to use 30 seconds as that minimum acceptance of, were you effectively educating somebody? And when you think about the average TV commercial being 30 seconds, the difference is in the 30 seconds of a TV commercial, they don't necessarily know the viewer's intent, because you're just sitting there watching whatever the show may be, and out comes a commercial, and they have 30 seconds to be able to try to get into your mind whatever it is they're trying to pitch. In this particular case, we already knew that they wanted something. We can get into that, what something is later, but they wanted something, and they think they found it, and were able to educate themselves for 59 seconds before deciding to do whatever the next thing is, whether they're making a phone call, sending in a contact form. But that is a massive advantage for someone to be able to 70% of the time attract the right type of lead and keep their attention for just 1 second under a minute to decide whether they're going to be for them or not. But that's serious quality for someone. You need to learn, where do people go first in their journey of learning about your business? Yes, the homepage will traditionally be the first and or second, or even the top three, but traditionally it's always the top 1 or 2 to be found. But you want to understand, when people are coming to your website from all these different directions, whether it's search, whether it's directly, whether it's a referral, whether it's a paid ad, you still want to understand, when they're making those first impressions besides your homepage, what do they see? And we're going to get to it in a moment, why it's important. But you want to learn, where do people go first when they begin their journey to learning about your company? The second thing is you want to go to pages and screens to see that regardless of how they find you and where they land first, where do they go second, third, fourth, and fifth and what is the most visited page on your site, which is usually is the home page. Then comes the contact page. In this case, it's the about page and the areas page. And all of this helps you, again, understand where the eyeballs are going, either first or in a majority of the time. And it's going to lead to, again, where I'm heading to make a point when we go to make changes, which is deciding what web pages need to be updated. As time goes by, and this is a fight for even my online toolbox, I have way too many pages that for somebody new to our business, they may find something and be very excited about whatever it is my online toolbox is talking about. But unfortunately, what we said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even though the topic may be relevant and the same, how we're showing it could be completely different. So we have to fight the same topic like contractors to go back to our old content and decide what is still relevant and what needs to go and what needs to change or what needs to be completely updated. So in this particular case, this client, the reason why I'm showing it is using Kitchen Remodel as a point. The name of the company is called Zetro. We featured them actually in a joint presentation with Markup and Profit earlier in the year, excuse me. But we went through his entire website, page by page by page, picture by picture, paragraph by paragraph, and updated everything. We started with him about 8 years ago. So 8 years went by, and we never, ever went through the entire website. So now in 2025, we're able to say, as of now, Q4 actually, everything on his site represents the best of who he is, and everything about his past that he didn't want to be shown anymore has now been either deleted or replaced. So going through this process took a long period of time. But behind the scenes, so the name of his company is Zetro, just to make a point here, but many of you may not be at that point. Many of you may only have sites that are 1, 2, or 3 years old, but you are, by my conversation, making you think twice about the main pages. What imagery are you showing? What stories are you saying? And believe me, I'm guilty on this too. I wish I could tell you that I have it perfectly nailed down at my online toolbox, and I don't. So I sympathize with this topic, which is using this particular company called Northwest Residential. He just did a beautiful whole home remodeling job. So we created a new page and we show all about this whole home remodeling job. We talk about the kitchen, the party area, the bathroom, that we showed the designs. But when we were done, we realized that the kitchen that was part of the whole home remodeling project was better than the kitchen that was on his homepage at the time. So we took a moment to say that since this picture and this project was better reflecting than the image that was there on his homepage, we used the opportunity to change the homepage with now a much better picture than he had before. He had a nice one before. It's now just been replaced with a better one. So take a moment to learn what are the key landing pages and the most busiest pages on your website, and just go through it slowly to say, you know what, for the next prospect who comes tomorrow to look at you, does it really represent the best of who you are? And if not, take a moment to say, let's update it, because the next person is not going to care whether your site is 1 day old or 10 years old. The same thing in Zetro. But to be fair, it did take us many years to go through this process. But before you do, there's a warning. And this warning is, you're going to look at a couple of pages on your site and you're probably going to go, ugh, I took the darn presentation and now my online toolbox got me all stimulated to make these changes. When you go to make these changes, just take a moment, or with your programmer or your SEO person, to take a moment to study the keywords that are driving traffic to your website. And this, I'm trying to keep it non-technical, but it's a great to make a point, because Zetro is a hybrid of both residential and commercial construction. So they allow me to hit many topics at once. But because they do kitchen remodeling, kitchen remodeler, kitchen remodeling, and kitchen remodel, they all mean the same thing when it comes to getting the work done. But when it comes to search, there is a difference. So when we were studying the changes for Zetro, we looked it out and looked at the average positions, long-term studies, not just what's there in front of us, but what was not the best he's ever done. What is he averaging doing? And what we realized was that the kitchen remodeling was averaging position 1.9, but kitchen remodel was 2.2 and kitchen remodeler was 2.4. So all we did was just take a moment and readjust how we word things on his site. And you would need to look really close, and you'd have to actually study it with a magnifier. But instead, we were focusing in on replacing permutations of remodeling and remodel and changing it to remodeler just to be able to hit the lowest area to try to improve. When I show this performance report up on top, if you look at his, this is a 2-year snapshot, and you could see for the first half that he was slowly losing his strength. And that happened for a variety of reasons. But we knew that while he was losing strength, when we were going to do something about it, we wanted to do it as strategically as possible. So you could see right around December 9th was we were talking about this. And then in January, we began to make these changes. And all of a sudden, we went a little crazy in Q1 and Q2. And then it leveled out for the rest of the year. He now ends 2024 where his physical image, what you see on the screen, is the best it's ever been, all fresh for 2025. Simultaneously, his keyword rankings is the strongest it's ever been. So we were able to protect his rankings independent of improving his cosmetic appeal. This goes into, and I'm just going to mention it quickly because it is a very opportunistic topic. But if you go after the presentation to post number 333, Google made a massive change that makes people like me smile for the next couple of years because this change is affecting the algorithm. It's called a core update. And behind the scenes, when they rolled it out in August, and it's going to take at least a year to be able to work itself through all of the different ranking systems and tools that are out there, the goal is simple: to boost high quality content and demote SEO focused material. Too many people have gamed the systems over the years where they would have somebody build them a website to just generate leads at all costs, but the content was copied content, stolen content, AI generated content, but it didn't deserve to get the lead. So this change is, for me, a brand marketer's dream because every reference of any My Online Toolbox educated client is based on utilizing your images, your reviews, your stories, and yes, putting SEO on top of it, but manipulating it so that the story itself, the cake, is all unique. The icing on top is the SEO, but the cake needs to be a uniquely generated topic. And we love this new change because it benefits all of our clients going forward. So for those of you who are new, who are just listening here and kind of just getting a couple of free tips and really don't know how your website was ever built, and you just kind of said, hey, I paid someone to do it, and of course I'm getting leads, but I have really no idea how they did it. Well, you better ask this question, 2 questions. Did someone approach your marketing for leads, or did they build a brand to generate quality leads? And the second question is, how did they do it? Why? Because when the judge, jury, and executioner goes through your website at 2 a.m. and comes up with the decision of that you were using copied, stolen, duplicated, plagiarized content and you get demoted, there is a chance when you read all about what Google says, and they keep it simple. How long will it take to fix my problem if I've been demoted? And they say simply, you might need to wait for the next update. Now, I don't know what that means, nor does any other smart aleck SEO person, but the last thing you want to do is wait for Google to make a major announcement 1 to 2 years later if you're caught with a site that was completely built to get a lead at all costs. Last but not least is a very cool topic about, this is the most opportunistic topic. It's a hard topic. And I'm also going to briefly mention how the lead generation companies such as Angie's, Home Advisor, Porch, and anybody else out there, how they take advantage of this topic and how you should leverage it to your advantage. This is a particular supplier, not my customer. The customer is Castile, that the supplier on their website has a particular page talking about Castile working with them, Kelly's Appliances. They show a beautiful picture. They have a whole little story. And then at the end of that story, they say, hey, to learn more about the details of this project, independent of the products we provided, please visit the Castile's dedicated picturesque kitchen remodel using our appliances. And when you click on that link, you land on the Castile, which happens to be my client. They have a beautiful landing page that talks all about this beautiful project. They have a wonderful video review. They talk about the pictures showing that they opened up the space. They show all their design work. But within the story, they also throw a little caveat in towards, hey, this finished project, we're thankful for our partnership with Kelly's Appliances to provide luxury grade appliances. And when you click on that particular link, it brings you directly to the landing page that from Kelly's that brought us here to our site. And what this is basically co-marketing at its best. The reason why this is important is that co-marketing, first, to make sure that it doesn't just come across as a quick buzzword, is that co-marketing is a marketing strategy where companies partner together to expand their reach. And typically, the companies working with each other have similarities, such as being in the same industry or having the same audiences. The reason why this is so important is that every general contractor deals with all of these different subcontractors, whether it's a flooring company, a painting company, a roofing company, and you could think of all the different permutations, design companies that you work with. And what we need to do, let me just get this there. Hold on. There we go. We need to have a handshake between websites where you recognize your local partners and your local partners recognize you. This is pretty much one of the toughest things to do. Why? Because if the majority of the people have weak marketing to begin with, it makes that handshake not as strong online. And what happens is, without me beating to death why I dislike lead gen companies, but one of the things that they know is most contractors don't understand co-marketing. They're in a rush and they're not ready to say, hey, here's my story. Now take these same images and you twist the story a little bit, promoting just your product, but then reference me as the contractor for installing the product. So what the lead gen companies do is they provide all of these best of awards, best of this, best of that, and they hand it out like candy. And everyone's so excited to throw it on their homepage that they take this best of award, they throw it on their homepage. That award is always highly optimized for the lead generation company. And then it links to the lead generation company's website. And you basically helped it with, you help strengthen a lead generation company's ranking abilities because you're pointing to them, but they're not pointing to you. And it's all under the disguise of this fake award that they give out by tens of thousands to everybody. The best of waking up at 9 a.m, best of going to bed at night. And it's all a bunch of BS in my mind. And you could leverage that to have your associates, your partners, your trades partners, all cross-linking to them yourselves. And it helps you expand your localized ranking abilities. That's very difficult for other people to compete with. Your problem will be making sure everybody has a website in the first place. That's why we try to push people to the education, because if you can't appreciate getting quality leads over an extended period of time, then that handshake is worthless and you're not going to be able to do it. What I want to do is quickly go very, very fast in a review here before asking some questions, that reminding people to get the Google reviews with images as possible, because it impacts relevancy. Respond to reviews, make a call if you get a bad review in order to help the prospector or try to get the prospector or customer to change that review. Add images to your Google profile. Check your territory in your Google profile while you're there, or should I say service area. Make social posts to see who may soon need your services, see who may be looking to join your team. Share what you're in the middle of working on. Share what you're planning to work on next. Include updating Instagram along with Facebook, but try to have limited to no hashtags. Prepare for the holidays with a sincere thank you for holiday cards, phone calls, and visits with a handshake. If you're slowing down, excuse me, call or personally pass by to say hello. Use Google Analytics to learn about traffic acquisition and engagement so you could then better decide what web pages need to be updated. Remember to use the keyword research to strategize your new content. Remember about this new Google algorithm. Please learn about it because it's a dream come true to be able to take advantage of a once in a lifetime search engine opportunity. And co-marketing is a strategy that is at your fingertips so long as you and your partners are embracing marketing to the best of your ability. Want to remind people that this field of dreams, please don't just build it and think they're going to come. Check out the basic page for an offer that you can't refuse for only live audiences. We want to remember that even though we were thanking people like Joseph over at Valley Woodworks, which again, congratulations on that, it doesn't matter who you're using for programming. This particular company, Elite Construction out in Virginia, they've been doing this for a few years all on their own. I don't encourage it all the time. I do like to always tell people that unless you really have the stamina to enjoy programming and take on the challenges yourself, the technical challenges, should I say, the woman here is wonderful and she loves it and has done a fine job. But if you need to work with a professional company such as Southern Heritage, same thing. Just a year ago, his marketing was absolutely non-existent. Now, just a few weeks ago, he went live and he's 2025, 2026, and the rest of his life, his image and his ranking opportunities are going to be changed for the rest of his life to represent the best of who he is. So please always remember, your competitors are not always better than you just because they're a better contractor. Many times they're better than you because they're surrounding themselves with marketing principles and they're out there doing what needs to be done to be found by the prospects, or should I say by the right prospects. So please make sure that marketing, in the midst of obviously, of course, with like Markup and Profit, they want to help you manage the work and make as much money as possible. It all has to do with getting the right opportunities in the first place. If you're not setting yourself up to getting the right opportunities and following up with existing customers to get that repeat business, a lot of this is just a hopeful thinking, and that's something that we don't want for the rest of your life. So remember, My Online Toolbox, we have in our social channels, we have quick tips that are offered weekly on Facebook and YouTube. On our Instagram channel, we show one weekly featured project, not of a cool project of a construction business, but how they're marketing it to the best of their ability on a project by project basis. Last but not least, I want people to see this to appreciate it because I can't believe 14 years or 15 years later, when I first met Michael and Devin Stone, I always used to complain about the lead gen companies, and I will continue until they disappear. Well, this was the first time at the end of a year that I could ever show this. And this is Angie's list. This is all public information, so I'm not just doing hype here, but I want you to appreciate this. Since I started in this business, and I was shocked that Angie's List and Home Advisor and everybody else even existed, I couldn't believe they existed because I couldn't in my head comprehend why anybody would use them for any reason. But in any case, I was always perplexed and saying, how could these freaking companies grow and grow and grow by selling garbage leads? One day, it will slowly come to an end. Well, 2022 to 2023 saw the biggest decrease. And if you could look how on the growth side from 2020 to 2021, it went from 10.6 to 10.3 and then 8.96. And then in 2023, it dropped in growth. That to me means I start to rub my fingers and go, finally, you contractors are waking up. I don't care how you're waking up, but you got to wake up to realize the lead gen game is coming to an end, and you want to start changing it by embracing marketing and putting it as an important aspect of how you could differentiate yourself for the rest of your life when it comes to generating quality leads. So I want to thank everybody. I kept it at 50 minutes. I did really good. I wanted to get as much out there. And I think the total topics, I actually was counting on the bottom. I got to 31 individual topics. That wasn't a page counter, it was a topic counter. So I got 31 topics your way, with the hardest one being co-marketing. But I wanted to thank you. I hopefully, in some way or form, have gotten everybody to have a minimum of 1 to 2, preferably more takeaways to do something when we hang up this phone, in addition to going to the basic class on my website. But besides that, I want you to have a takeaway that changes how you're going to end the year, and embrace it in a positive way. Don't treat it as a checklist item. Treat it as an opportunity. And I wish you all the best in ending 2024 and having an exciting 2025. And I guess now Devin is going
Yeah,
to be
don't go
Q&A.
away. Yep, I'm here.
Oh,
Brian,
I
you did
can't
a
run.
great. No, you can't run, and nobody go away. We have a couple of questions, and I will take, if you want to post more, if you have any more questions, if you want to post them in the chat, that would be great. Brian, you talked about, you mentioned when you started talking about the Google changes, you talked about episode or post number 333. Where is that? Is that on YouTube? Is that in Facebook? Where can they go to watch that post or see that post or
Um,
whatever?
we both have on Facebook. We have
Okay.
a My Online Toolbox Facebook page. We also have a
Okay.
YouTube channel, My Online Toolbox. Impossible not to find us. So just go to Facebook or YouTube, type in the words, one word, My Online Toolbox. But when you get there, do me a favor. Also follow me, because I'm addicted to doing a weekly post, and I don't play games like some of these posts I watch where they always say, please pay me, play me at 1.5 times speed, and they talk for 30 minutes and say nothing. I love to show an example, a detailed example in 5 to 8 minutes, and get off the phone on a weekly basis. So take the opportunity, because it's live, and it's real on a weekly basis. So yeah, they just go to the Facebook page or YouTube and then look at each one, the episode, and episode 333 will give a very detailed explanation of that Google change.
Okay. And how long ago did you do episode 333? How far back do they have
Um,
to look?
I would say, it's funny. I'm looking at my online toolbox
Ballpark.
page. Well, I just did this week. I did, what did I do? I did 339, so 7 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, six back. Okay. Super. Is there a name for that new Google algorithm?
It's called a core update, and it was in August. So if they just start typing in
Okay.
Google core update August 2024, but I warn you, they're going to want to listen it to me in summary, because when you go there, you're going to be scared. It's really it's really technical. It's very deep. So what I did was I took information from 3 different sources and summarized it to make it more like you don't have to run from it, and be more embracing of the change.
Okay. Yes, Google is overwhelming. All right. And a question that came in on the registration forms, and that was the difference between Yelp reviews and Google reviews. Do you have any opinion on using Yelp?
I know people who have been successful with it. So, depending on the type of business you're in, there are areas that people will swear by it, and I kind of say, well, if it's working, still don't discount the power of the Google rankings, and get so obsessed with Yelp that you don't that you build Yelp at the expense of Google reviews not coming in. So if I went to say where are a lot of future search opportunities going, Google's still at that 80 to 85% of the market domination, give or take. And it might even be less, but let's say it's 70%, and I'm wrong. It's such a massive advantage towards being found that if you could get Yelp and still get a Google review, great. Get your Yelp reviews, but just don't discount Google indefinitely, or it might hurt you long term.
Okay. Um, yeah, Google still rules the roost right now. I've noticed on our website a lot more of our traffic is starting to come from Bing. So I wonder how things could be changing. I don't think we have any more questions. I want to tell you that that graph on Angie's list made my day. That was nice to see. Much
With
appreciated.
that one,
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yes.
can't believe it. I was, quite honestly, when it was the last screen, and I really hold my breath talking to you at the end of each year, because every year it keeps going up, and I'm like, what is going on here? I feel like I'm in the freaking Twilight Zone. How could this possibly be happening? And finally, I didn't pay attention to it. Honestly, I look at it at the end of the year and I was like, victory, and again, it's like somebody selling rotary phones. I can't believe that it's still out there. I
Hmm.
shouldn't say that.
Yes. Or selling typewriters.
Yeah.
Okay. So the website they're supposed to go to, your website, I almost said markup, myonlinetoolbox.com/marketing hyphen websites/basic hyphen online hyphen class. You know what? I'll type that in the chat right now. That's where they should go today, right?
Yep, and that will be gone tomorrow.
Okay. And I think the question that I'm being asked is if I'm sending the recording via email. I will get this posted and I will send a link out to everyone who registered today. So, but it may not get out, the email may not get out today. It may not get out until tomorrow. Is that a problem? Hope that's not a problem. Anyway, that's the link to go to for Brian's website and for the offer that he makes. Brian, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of good information in there. A lot of good information, not just for contractors. I picked up some stuff for us too. So thank you very much, Brian. And thank all of you for being here. We enjoyed seeing your faces, or, well, some of you, we just saw your names, but we enjoy you
Right.
being here. And y'all go and have a good evening. So thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thank you, and
Bye.
have a great fourth quarter.
Yes, yes. Goodbye.